and thank you everyone for joining us once again on RTNext, our new series of short, focused conversations on the future of travel in India and South Asia. Even as we speak, post-vaccine travel is picking up pace in our country. Apparently, there have been 50 lakh travelers, domestic, who've taken domestic flights in the month of July alone. That's a 57% jump already. So, in this context, we wonder what's next for us. We wonder what the trends will be like, what the shape of recovery will be like. We wonder if the tourism industry in 2021 and 2022 will be truly sustainable and inclusive, as many experts have predicted, or will we simply go back to our old ways? At Outlook Responsible Tourism Initiative, an affiliate member of the UNWTO, we're really optimistic about the road ahead. And we believe, even at the cost of sounding trite, and I never get tired of saying this, that there's light at the end of the tunnel. The question is, how do we get through this tunnel together as a community and build something that is better and more resilient? And that's exactly why we are reaching out to the experts and the doers, the policy makers and the policy implementers for the RTNext series. I'm Shweti Banerjee, and I'm very, very glad to welcome today Mr. Saugat Biswas, IAS, and the first Divisional Commissioner and Secretary of the Union Territory of Ladakh, someone who has been consistently pushing the envelope of sustainable development and skilling in the region, with a special focus on carbon neutrality and the revival of Pashmina and other local crafts. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
So, sir, because we're going to try and, ask you a few questions that, that can give us a sense of what you foresee in the coming months for Ladakh in particular and for tourism in general all over the country. I just wanted to say that, as it happens, Ladakh seems to be on everyone's radar these days. I was seeing a survey earlier this week by Booking.com, and it's clear from that survey that Leh is among the top 10 destinations that are being sought out by domestic travelers. I was there last month, as you know, for a community engagement and training program, and I saw it myself. So there is how are you preparing for this new reality, this heightened interest in Ladakh, and where does sustainability fit into these, into your plans?
You are absolutely correct in saying that Ladakh has become a very sought-after tourist destination after this, especially after this loosening of the COVID restrictions. That is true, but again, we are seeing tourism after a break, which was again caused due to COVID. So the tourism industry certainly, like everywhere, has been suffering due to tourists not coming in. So which is a good thing that has happened to places like Ladakh and especially Leh and Kargil. But then the idea is, or the aspiration is of this particular sector here is that it should be sustained. Now, when we say sustained in a place like Leh or Kargil, the disruptions that happen is in the shape of the season. So the season becomes too harsh, it becomes very cold, and usually after say October or November, the tourism declines. So what the administration is pushing for is having a tourism season that runs through the year, because Ladakh has so much to offer in terms of its visual and experiential diversity, even in the winters. So we are focusing largely on winter tourism. Let us see what happens this year. But things are progressing, and the tourism department of Ladakh is making all efforts to see that the winter tourism, in terms of adventure tourism, mountaineering, skiing activities, ice hockey is already a popular sport that happens in Ladakh. So similar such things, sledging and the Chadar trek is a very popular event here. So we are trying to see that the season continues, and people of varying interests, people who want to enjoy the summers come in the summers, who want to enjoy the winters come in the winters, who want to enjoy the snow, they go to Kargil and participate in winter sports. things like that. Then certainly we also are having the snow leopard spotting and wildlife adventure tourism. So that is where we are heading. Ladakh, as you must have also heard, that has very clear skies, and the Anle monastery, the Anle observatory is situated in Leh district. So where you can see the galaxy also at night. So astrotourism is also something that the administration is looking forward to having in a big way, in a very organized and you know uh, uh, people friendly, tourist friendly way. Dark night sky sanctuaries is something that we are trying to develop. So that is where we are heading.
In Man, of course, you already have such a setup that the community's been running, I believe. And I believe it's been rather successful.
Small
So,
observatories.
yeah, so it's been fantastic. So are any of these, I mean, I have to ask you is, are you, I mean, you've already spoken about winter sports and snow leopard tourism, etc., trying to, lengthen the season. But in winter as well, as we know, especially in Ladakh, it's a tough terrain. It's hard. I mean, the conditions are hard even for people who are living there. So if you stray too far away from the hubs, it will be, the infrastructure needs to be developed, especially because there is dependence on heating and on wood, etc. So in that context, may I ask you, I mean, because you have been particularly keen on carbon neutrality, and there are solar water heaters and so on that are also being considered and being used widely now in parts of Ladakh. So how do you see carbon neutrality, and what is your agenda for carbon neutrality in Ladakh, and what are your focus areas at the moment?
So carbon neutral Ladakh is a vision that has been put forth by the Honorable Prime Minister, carbon neutral Ladakh, and the administration of Ladakh is, uh, doing all its developmental activities, keeping that carbon neutrality as a central focus. And the Honorable LG also has spoken. I think on Outlook only there was an interview. There was an interview last week. So under his leadership, the whole design, the vision, everything is geared towards carbon neutrality, sustainable ecology of Ladakh. So that is what we are trying to do. Certainly, like you said, that we need to also have uh, infrastructure in various areas where we are trying to expand tourism to. So the administration is doing that as well. Carbon neutrality, we are trying to do in many ways. Solar energy is one. Like you may be knowing, uh, large parts of Ladakh are run on DG sets till date. So because there is
That's
no
right.
grid connectivity. Now we are consistently, removing the DG sets and creating microgrid solar systems and lighting up the villages. So that is, if we are able to remove all the DG sets in the coming months, coming years, then that will be a big step. Then we have already started our journey towards bringing in e-vehicles, e-public transport, even though the sustainability, the economic model, that needs to be worked out. So the beginning has been made. It was just on the 5th of August that the Honorable LG flagged off 2 electric buses for flying in Ladakh, and which are running now with the tourists. So we are planning to get another 8 buses, that is 10 buses in Ladakh to begin with, for public transport. Then there are various things that are being done in the power sector, in the solar energy sector. Like ONGC has been tied up with, SECI has been tied up with, they are bringing up 1.5 megawatt electricity plant somewhere. We are also tying up with NTPC to bring in hydrogen fuel and run our public transport on hydrogen fueled systems. So those are things which are being done. Apart from that, when we are talking about, I think you also mentioned that when the tourism becomes, I mean, the volume of tourism goes high, then there is a risk of, disturbing the ecosystem, etc. So for that also, whatever we are able to think of at this stage, we are having solid waste management plants and by the name of Sangda project in Leh, and one or two in Kargil. So we are expanding it this year and the next. Every one such project in every block we are trying to develop. So which will have segregation facilities, waste management, a complete chain of waste management which is being worked out. Plastic waste management is also being looked at. Plastic compactors, various devices, machinery intervention, technology interventions are being put in. Then one thing more that we are doing is, already we are developing a policy for e-waste management in Ladakh. So I think these are the initiatives which are being taken up by the administration, and in due course we'll see that the whole scenario has kind of evolved into a carbon neutral space.
So I mean, just taking off from what you just said about course correction, and especially in areas where which have seen over tourism, and where there has been in the past, I mean, issues with waste management, etc. Where you're putting in systems in terms of communication, sir, in terms of image and strategy. I mean, how are you planning to take that forward and communicate it to to the person who's coming into Ladakh, or planning to come to Ladakh? How do you want to, ensure that this, the work that you're doing in the back end also continues, because travelers are more conscious, travelers are more responsible? Is there any thought on along those lines? Anything in terms of campaigns, communication?
Every tourist place has this risk. I mean, there are tourists of every kind. People are there who are very conscious and who are very alive to the requirement of the day in terms of environmental protection. But then there are many who are yet to learn. So, and there's a demonstration effect also. If we behave well, then others also pick up from us. So we are doing publicity campaigns in various ways, be it in the electronic media or the print media, wherever possible. And we are also taking the district administrations here are taking steps in involving the tour operators and the vehicles and the drivers, the training of the drivers so that they can sensitize the tourists, and at tourist locations again, plogging exercises, a constant building up of this thought process about protecting the environment. So somewhere we fail, somewhere we are successful, but our machineries are also there. We're trying to strengthen our own machineries also, so that we can keep these places like the Pangong Lake or the Nubra Valley or other places. I mean, every place, the mountain tops, the trekking routes, clear of such littering and misuse of the environment. And I
right. So are you looking at any? Sorry.
We are extremely hopeful about the intelligence of the tourists also. And we have had wonderful tourists who have made beautiful films after coming here. Short films you will see on the YouTube, and this young generation, they're very alive. And they have made beautiful films to protect Ladakh's environment, and those things also get circulated.
Right. So any punitive measures, do you even believe in them? Will there be strict measures against those who are...
It is a mix. The Urban Development Department takes punitive measures also at places of larger gatherings, etc. So every shops, etc., have been provided with dustbins for that reason also, and the shopkeepers also try to inculcate this knowledge in the tourists. If you buy something, if you pick up a wrapper, please throw it in this dustbin, don't take it away, things like that. So wherever these things fail, certain punitive measures will also be taken.
So I mean, you've talked about the fact that you're trying to increase, I mean, you're trying to extend tourism through the year. You're looking at an all-round destination, all-year destination. I just wanted to ask you, I mean, I know that, in my experience, I find that, diversification also means that there will be, you'll be expanding your footprint, whether it's through tourism or skill development, further and further into areas that have otherwise not had access to these opportunities in the past. both because development hadn't happened until then, and also because there was not enough interest at that point. Let's say, the homestay movement that is now gaining strength, for instance, or I find that you already have a network of Ama Sokpas, you already have a network of these youth organizations who are above and beyond your political systems, the gram panchayats, etc. They exist as they do everywhere else, but you also have youth movements, you have elderly women and local women getting together to to encourage each other to do handicrafts, etc. So in that larger sort of scheme of things, what are your plans for skill development? I know that you're everything from pottery to leather to crafts, superfoods, pashmina, of course. I mean, you've been encouraging all of this. So, so how are all these threads connecting is what I would like to know. And from a skill development point of view, what is your vision?
See, Ladakh is a place of a huge potential and diversity. And the problem is that things have been here in the villages, but they have not been able to reap benefits, economic benefits out of it. And maybe the economic benefits have been reaped by other people, not giving the benefits to the people who are the producers here. So various products like the pashmina, or like you said, pottery of various kinds, and various products of sheep wool, various products of camel wool, yak wool, um, things in the food processing sector. These things have not been, what should I say, developed to the extent that people can add value to it and get additional income out of these avenues. And what has happened as a result is that even though they have this potential, they have been working as petty laborers in BRO camps and road constructions, etc. So the administration has taken note of this and has kind of launched skill development across various sectors, so that market linkages can be developed, supply chain can be developed, and with the help of various agencies of the government of India, various agencies, help of the various agencies, financial institutions, we can actually develop supply chains, thereby transferring the economic benefits down to the villages. So we are getting in institutions like the Central Leather Research Institute, CLRI, who are, as we speak, they are almost midway in trainings in both Leh and Kargil district in development of leather products, now which is absolutely a new field for Ladakh. Now, development of leather products, and also we are tying up with agencies who can buy those products from the villages itself. Then we are doing skill development in the handloom sector. We got in NIFT to have longish engagements with the handloom producers, and they have gained out of those experiences. And we are trying to extend them and create master trainers, create very high-end design outputs out of such exercises. Similarly, we are tying up with KVIC, who are again giving spinning training, training in spinning, not just on the regular hand spinning machines, but on machines which can spin, say, eight spindles at a time, 4 spindles at a time, which can increase the productivity of the women who are sitting in the villages in self-help groups and trying to produce yarn out of pashmina. So, and then we are also trying to create a yarn bank so that we can buy the pashmina yarn from the spinner cooperatives, etc. So all these things are being lined up, all these things are being developed, not only in these sectors, but in other sectors like electronics, like computers. Various skill development initiatives have been taken up. The courses are going on, students are getting trainings, and we intend to, wherever it is employment-based, we intend to get them into jobs. Wherever it is self-employment based, we intend to put the people in the villages to become self-employed, become entrepreneurs themselves and start their own businesses, and rather create employment. So that is the kind of vision that we are working with.
Excellent. So I was just going to ask you about entrepreneurship. You've already answered that question. Just a quick question. So for travelers who are hoping to visit Ladakh in the coming year, what would your message to them be?
Travelers must follow COVID protocols. That is one.
First.
Certainly, because everybody's health, their own health, the health of the people
Absolutely.
of Ladakh, everybody's health is very important. We need to be very, very careful about, while enjoying and experiencing Ladakh, that should be of prime importance. Second is certainly, Ladakh has a huge space, huge expanse, huge experiences to offer, not only one or two spots which are well known. So more of exploration should happen so that they can gain most out of their visits, and certainly follow the ecological diktats that Ladakh is a very clean place, should not get destroyed like various other places that we have seen in the past in other places of the country, by littering, by throwing away plastic, such things. So that is all our message. We are all here to welcome all tourists and extend all our courtesies to them.
Thank you. That's wonderful. So where are you traveling next? Or are you, I know you're terribly busy, but I hope there is some travel plan.
I certainly wish to visit the southern parts of India.
Oh, warmer climes.
Yeah, we're waiting for the winters to come.
Waiting for the winters to come. Oh dear.
Yes,
But
yes.
it's wonderful to have had this conversation with you, sir. And I am certainly very hopeful about Ladakh. I myself saw that there is the conversation on sustainability seems to have gained momentum even locally. Even in the markets, you can suddenly see organic and eco and words like that being written out and talked about in places like Leh, which all these years didn't talk about these things. So, and Zanskar is opening up and newer areas are opening up. So really, really hopeful about Ladakh, sir. So all the best to you and to the people of Ladakh. We'll be watching, and I hope to come this winter in Ladakh, sir, to experience, while you're experiencing southern India, I hope to come to Ladakh to see how cold it gets. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you.